I probably shouldn't be saying this, but you need to stop building AI agents. What if I told you that selling AI automations is actually holding your business back and that you're leaving money on the table? So today I'm going to tell you what the problem with AI automation is. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to be building instead and why. And then we're going to build an AI automation step by step using n8n. It's something that's going to get a YouTube transcript and turn those into 3 viral LinkedIn posts. And then I'm going to show you exactly how you can turn that automation, or really any automation, into a scalable product. By the end of this video, you will have a working application that you can sell to clients over and over and over again. If you're new here, hi, my name's Duncan. I've scaled my AI agency to over $10,000 a month and have sold my automations to thousands of customers. So here's the problem with AI automation. So let's say that this is your automation that takes YouTube transcripts and turn them into LinkedIn posts. And you have a client over here that's interested. But what if you have a client over here and this person is in New York and this person is in California? And then what if you have a third client down here who's somewhere else and a fourth client who's over here? Now what you have to do in order to get your clients is, first you have to pitch the system to Jim over here, and then you have to pitch the system to Ashley over here. But not only that, you actually have to come to them and install it in their business every single time, differently for every single person or every single client that wants this automation. But it gets even harder. Now you need to keep track of logins and credentials for every single one of your clients. And then what happens if you actually want to make improvements to this system and you actually want to upgrade it? Well, now you have to come to Jim over here and you need to upgrade his system. And you need to come to Ashley over here and you need to upgrade her system, and so on and so on. And so the more clients you have, this becomes an incredibly cumbersome process, and you're starting to trade your time for money. Running an AI agency this way is really not a scalable business, because the more clients you take on, the less time you have. But what if I told you that there is a way that instead of you having to go to every single one of these clients individually, there was actually a way to have all of them come to you? And now you can sell this same product over and over again to thousands of customers. And if you need to make changes to the system, all you need to do is upgrade this in one single place, and this rolls out to every single one of your customers and they're all happy. This is better for your customers and this is better for you. And now if you have a bunch of clients coming to you, you can scale much faster, and now you can make a lot more money. So the answer to all your problems is something called Micro-SaaS. And if you're unfamiliar with the term, SaaS basically means software as a service. This is literally every subscription model that you use. This is now the #1 way to sell software, and the biggest benefit of this is that it's predictable revenue every single month. And micro SaaS basically just means that this is a software application that solves a very specific problem for a very specific audience. And really why this is so powerful is now with AI tools like Lovable or Bolt or Replit, you can actually launch a whole bunch of micro SaaS products really quickly to test out the market. So now instead of a single revenue stream from a single automation, you can actually have a whole bunch of products out there generating revenue for you. This is basically a brand new way of thinking. The way it used to work with product launches is you would develop a product over a long period of time. You would spend a lot of time, you would spend a lot of money, you would build a go-to-market plan and a big marketing plan, and then you would launch the product to the customers and you would hope that it would work. This is extremely risky, but now what you can do is you can try out a whole bunch of smaller products over time, and you can sort of soft launch them, and you can start collecting payments from day one, and you can start collecting feedback from your audience from day one, and maybe one of these really takes off. Your audience likes it, they're paying you, they're making money, and now you can put marketing dollars behind it and you can scale this. And you can just do this over and over again until you have multiple streams of revenue. And so now you understand what the problem with AI automation is, that you should be building micro SaaS applications instead, and why you should be doing this. So now I want to hop into n8n to actually build out this automation step by step. And then I'm going to show you exactly how you can turn this, or really any automation, into a scalable product using Lovable, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite AI coding tools. Cool. So let's hop into n8n and let's get started. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click create workflow. And then we're just going to set this off with a very basic form submission. And I'm just going to go ahead and call this YouTube to LinkedIn. And I'm just going to add a single form element, and this is basically just going to be the YouTube URL. So now the way I want to do this is we're basically just going to put in the YouTube URL for any video. We're going to get the transcript, and then we're going to turn this into 3 viral LinkedIn posts. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So what we can do to test this, we can just start here with this Alex Hormozi video, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to grab the URL and I'm going to copy this. And now I can come back here, click execute workflow, and you can see we have this form that pops up with the YouTube URL. And I'm just going to go ahead and click paste, and then I'm going to submit this in. So now you can actually see from here, we basically have the URL to work with coming from here. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin this data so that we have access to it. Next, I want to future-proof this system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create the set node because I know in the end, we're actually going to swap out this form for a webhook to connect to our app. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to drag this YouTube URL in here. And I know that we need to get the YouTube transcript. So there's a great transcript scraper on the site called Rapid API. I will leave a link in the description where you can get this. And you can see here that what we need is the video ID. Well, where do we get the ID for the video? Well, basically it's just these last characters at the end of the URL. So what I actually need to do is I need to come in here and I need to strip out everything before this equals sign. So I'm actually just going to use ChatGPT to do this. So I'm just going to take a screenshot here. I'm going to come into ChatGPT. I'm going to drop this in. And I'm just going to say, I need an n8n expression to extract the video ID from the YouTube URL. The ID is everything after the equal sign. So let's see what this comes up with. And you can see here, this has my expression, JSON YouTube URL. So here's the YouTube expression. So now this says we want to split this after the equal sign and grab the second position. This is great. There's one other thing I want to do, again, to make sure that we are basically dummy proofing this system, is that sometimes in the YouTube URL, what happens is if you're at a certain time code, you'll get something up top here that basically says like, and t equals like 305s, which basically is just like, this is the time at 305 seconds. And if I go ahead and put this in, you can see this actually jumped to 305 seconds in the video. And so I just want to make sure that we're basically removing the and t also. So I'm just going to copy this in. I'm going to say, I also want to make sure we accommodate if the URL has an and t and grab everything after the equal sign and before the ampersand. So I'm just going to make sure we accommodate this in case somebody is pasting in something with a time code. This extracts the value after v equals and before any and, so converting both the plain URLs and ones with additional parameters. So let's see if this works. I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to go ahead and paste this. And so now you can see that we basically, instead of the full URL, we just have the video ID. So this is great. If we go ahead and click execute step, this works. I'm happy with this. We can use this to grab the transcript. So let's just call this YouTube to LinkedIn. Always good to name your stuff. Let's just go ahead and do this. And let's just say set ID. Great, cool, awesome. So what's really cool about Rapid API, it's super, super easy to set up. I'm just gonna go ahead and click copy, and this is called a curl request. So all we need to do is come back into n8n, type HTTP. We can go here to import curl. I can literally just paste that in. So this takes a second. We're gonna go ahead and paste this in, and this is basically set this all up for us now. We don't need to do anything else. This right here is where we put in the video ID. So I'm just gonna go ahead, change this to expression, and we can delete the value. And now we can pull in this field from over here to have the video ID. You can see here we have the video ID. And so if I go ahead and click execute step, this is going to run and this is going to grab the transcript from the Alex Hormozi video. Cool. And so you can see here that this comes in this really weird broken format. So we're going to do one of my favorite things in n8n that people find really, really scary, but it's not so bad. We're actually going to use the code node. And I'm just going to change this to get transcript so we know exactly what's happening. I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to type in code. What's really cool about this is, again, I can just copy a little bit of this and I can come back into ChatGPT and I can say, I need an n8n JavaScript code. Its task is to take the following format and turn the chunked transcript into string text. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to paste in this JSON and let's see how we do. Use the following JavaScript code, and it's basically just going to map these fields. I don't code. I don't know what this means. Let's test this out and see how this works. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go ahead and paste this in. I'm actually going to go back here and I'm just going to click P to pin this data because I just don't want to have to run that again. And I'm going to click execute step and let's see how this goes. Super cool. So you can see we got rid of the duration, the offset, the language, and now we have this great transcript, which is just the entire transcript. So now we can work with this really nicely inside of ChatGPT. There's a couple things I see here. You can see basically we have these apostrophes and things like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this back to ChatGPT, and I think it's actually not so bad. We could actually get away with this, but I want to make this clean. We're getting things like this for apostrophes. I forget what this is called, actually. It'll tell me. How do I fix? Modified code to decode HTML entities. So this is left over from HTML. So let's go ahead and let's try this just so make sure that we have a really clean output so there's no confusion. Cool, so this is really cleaned up. This is looking good. We can work with this. Cool, so now we've gotten the YouTube transcript and basically all we need to do now is turn this into 3 LinkedIn posts. Now, I wanna make sure our posts go viral. So there's this guy, Jesse Van Brugel, and he has 56,000 followers on LinkedIn. And he's created the LinkedIn Authority Playbook, which basically tells you how to write hooks, how to write content that attracts followers, how to get impressions, and things like this. This is extremely awesome, to be honest with you. So I went through all of this and I took a ton of screenshots here to paste this into Claude, and I basically asked it to create a system prompt. And it just says you're an expert LinkedIn content strategist specializing in creating viral, high-converting LinkedIn posts. Your task is to transform any given topic and context into a compelling LinkedIn post that drives maximum engagement, et cetera, et cetera. It gives a breakdown of kind of the structure, how to structure the hook, some templates that we can use, the core message of the actual post, some CTAs, and things like that. So it's a really good start. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start a new chat because I want to change this just a little bit. So I'm just going to say I need to adjust this system prompt. First, it needs to extract 3 high impact, high value moments from a transcript, and then write a viral LinkedIn post for each of those moments. And then I also want to say something like one should be contrarian or controversial. One should use hyperbole or just to exaggerate. And the third I'll leave up to you because I want to make sure that we basically have 3 different content types. So let's just go ahead and it's just going to adjust the system prompt a little bit to accommodate our specific needs in this case. Cool, so first here you can see it's doing the transcript analysis, and then it's going to go ahead and categorize these posts. And then from there, it's actually going to write the post for us using the same framework, writing the hook, keeping contrarian, for hyperbolic, for strategic post. This is cool. Strategic post was the third idea that it had. So this is great. We can work with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this. And then I'm just going to come back in here and I'm going to go ahead and do the basic LLM chain. So basically now when I hand this off to you guys, you can use whatever model you want. And I'm just going to go ahead and define below. And then I'm going to add a system prompt. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to paste this in. So now you can see we basically have our entire system prompt here that tells the system how to behave. And from there, for the user message, I can just say transcript and go ahead and copy this. Just drag this over here. Got to change this to expression. Drag the transcript in. And so now we have the full transcript and it's going to go ahead and process this for us. The last thing we need to do is attach a model here. And I'm just going to go ahead and do OpenAI. And GPT-4.1 mini is probably fine. I'm just going to change this here. And I think maybe GPT-4.1 is better because it has a larger context window and these transcripts are kind of long and so is our prompt. And so I just want to make sure that we accommodate all of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click play just to test out the system and let's see the output that we get. Okay, so you can see we have all of this text here and it's basically all 3 posts in one. I noticed a couple things, like you can see here we have these /ns for line breaks. We definitely also have these asterisks for markdown format. And I want to make sure we avoid that too because that's actually not going to come through in LinkedIn. So we can just go ahead and add this to the user message. And let's say, do not use any markdown formatting. Do not include any intros, outros, section headers, etc. Just the LinkedIn posts. And the other thing I want to say is we come back in here and just say, give me a JSON format for output that separates the 3 posts. I will say my typing has definitely gotten worse since I've started using these LLMs. I don't know about you guys, but it's definitely gotten worse. And I just kind of accepted that there are errors and that the LLM basically just kind of understands what I mean, which is crazy. So, okay, this is not what I want. And so again, critical thinking is really important. I don't want this. I just want post 1, post 2, post 3. Because we don't need to break it up into these sections. I literally just want the posts. Sometimes this is where these systems bother me. I don't need separate. So I'm talking about my spelling, crazy. Separate sections, just the entirety of the post. Yes, thank you. Post 1, post 2, post 3. This is literally all I was looking for. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm just going to copy this again. We can come back in here. We can go ahead and update our system prompt just to accommodate to make sure we have all that. And for some reason, there's like this other JSON in here. I actually don't know why. I'm just going to delete that. And this is okay. It's okay. I don't want these. I don't want this. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this. And really, I can delete everything in between here because the system should be able to figure this out. And sometimes simplifying these prompts is actually the most helpful thing you can do. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. We come in here and say require specific output format. Come to the output parser. I like the auto fixing, which basically just creates another chance for OpenAI to go in and make sure it's actually matching the proper format. Come to the output parser, go to the structured output parser, and now I can just paste in this expected format. So if I go ahead and click save now, and we can go ahead and run this, and let's see what the system outputs and if it's in our proper format. And so now if we come in here, we can see we have post 1, post 2, and post 3. Unpopular opinion, stop trying to help everyone. Most businesses die not because they lack heart, but because they say yes to everyone. This one mistake nearly destroyed a 6-figure law firm. Cool. The exact sales system that doubled this lawyer's revenue. Cool. So these are great. These are 3 different types of posts. I love this. And there is one more thing I'm going to do because ChatGPT has a tendency to do this, and I want to save us some headache in the long run. And so if you actually look at the format that I asked for, if we come down here, it's literally just post 1, post 2, post 3. This is what I asked for. But you can see here that everything is actually nested under this thing that says output. ChatGPT has a tendency to be really inconsistent in the formats that it outputs. Sometimes it'll nest it under something that says output. Sometimes this will say text. Sometimes it won't be there at all. And if you get a variance in the type of output or this output structure, your systems aren't going to work. They're going to break and you're going to be kicking yourself because you're not going to know why it's not working. And so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to come back into ChatGPT, which is fine. I'm just going to say, here's the output format. It's currently nested under output, not put, output. Sometimes it'll be nested under text or not nested at all. I want to, let's say I need another code node function to make sure we can always grab the 3 individual posts in a consistent format. Accommodate any common ChatGPT output formats / structures. I'm just going to go ahead and paste this in, and let's see the code node that it gives us. So this is extracting some of the data. Again, I don't entirely know what all this means, but let's see here. So I'm just going to go ahead and come in here and add another code node. I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to go ahead and click execute step. And let's see what we get out of this. No, okay, so cool. So now we just have post 1, post 2, post 3. So hopefully this accommodates all types of different formats. We'll see as we get more into this. So basically, we have a really great workflow. This is set. This is an n8n. This is something you could deliver to a client. You could hook up the output of this to an Airtable database. You could send them a message in Slack or in Telegram or something like that. But again, every time you want to set this up for a client, now you need to get new API keys for Rapid API. You need to get new credentials with ChatGPT and things like that. And you have to set this up individually. You need to connect this to their specific database, et cetera, et cetera. And so what I want to do now is I want to show you how you can take this exact system and turn this into a productized, scalable app using Lovable. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come over to lovable.dev and I'm going to say I need a simple form landing page. And if you wanted to, you could collect names and emails and things like that. You can build that in, but I'm just going to say the form needs one single field, and that's YouTube URL. And if we come back in here really quick, because I might as well just set this up from the beginning, what we're going to do is we're going to swap out this form submission for a webhook. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab this webhook here. And I know this needs to be a post method. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this webhook URL. And so instead of the form submission, now we're grabbing everything from the webhook. So I'm going to say it needs to send the form data to this webhook as a post request. And let's just go ahead and let's send this off. And so now Lovable is getting to work building this system for us. And what we need to do is we're going to get some things for design. I'm going to show you how you can use inspiration to have Lovable design something that you like. And then I'm actually going to show you how you can return the information from the webhook so that once we have those 3 posts at the end, they appear back in Lovable for you. So what I like to do is I like to just head over to Behance, and we can just come in here and we can say Apple UI. Apple's UI is super, super clean, looks really great. Let's go ahead and let's see if we can find something that we like and that we think is cool. Okay, I think this is pretty cool. So let's just go ahead and I'm just gonna copy this as a screenshot. And if I come over here, because I know this is likely not going to look like this, I just wanted to make sure that we have it. And now we can basically tell Lovable we want to design it to look like this reference. Super cool. So this is done. I actually think this looks awesome. Like we maybe actually don't even need to redesign it to look like the reference. It pulled in this image in the background from I don't know where, but I'm actually not mad at this. If you wanted to, I mean, we can do it just for the sake of this. Redesign the UI to look like this reference. And then I want to make sure we accommodate the returning post. So I'm just going to say the webhook will return a response containing 3 LinkedIn posts. I want to display each post in a separate container with the ability to copy the text. So I'm just going to go ahead and send this off. And typically, actually, before I redesign UI and things like that, I actually like to test the system to make sure it works before we go about making it pretty. But since we already grabbed that screenshot, we might as well just do it now. And actually, I'm wondering, while it's redesigning this, can I actually just go ahead and copy and paste this? And if I come in here and I just go execute workflow, this is going to listen for the event. And can I just paste this in and go to submit? And let's see if this submits. YouTube URL has been successfully submitted. So let's come over here and you can actually see this system is already working. So if I come into here, we can basically see we have this request. This is coming in from our Lovable site. We can see we have the YouTube URL here, which that we pasted in. The set ID actually didn't do the job properly because now I didn't map the field correctly, but that's okay. So now we have an opportunity to correct this. So we can see here that this says YouTube URL. And so what I want to do here is I need to just update this expression. So let's see, I need to update this expression. So this is really helpful if you don't understand expressions, like you can use just ChatGPT to help you out. Update this expression, and I'm going to paste this in to use this instead. Now I can come back in here and we can see here that I'm just going to delete this. And this is actually the field that we want right here, the YouTube URL. So let me just paste this in. So this is json.body.youtube URL. So if I go in here and I do this, let's see what we have here, json.body.youtube URL, but we still want to match this kind of structure here. So let me copy this. Let me come back in here. If I paste this in, now you can see we're still actually properly extracting the video ID, so the rest of the flow should work. That's cool. That's fine. We can test this again. No problem. Cool. So now we have this content creator. This is great. I don't know what these buttons are up here, but we can change those later. So let's just see what happens here if this works. And at the end, I want to make sure we actually have the webhook. This is respond to webhook, and this will return data with the first incoming item. That's great. So let me go ahead and click save. And let's go ahead and let me unpin this data actually. Click save again, and let's come back to the Hermosi site. Go in here, click the play button to test, come over in here. Let's just go ahead and paste in the link, generate post. Okay, failed to generate LinkedIn posts. Let's try again. So let's see why. Webhook node not correctly configured. Interesting. Okay, let's test this out. Set the respond parameter to using respond to webhook node. Okay, so here this is instead of respond immediately, when we want to say respond using respond to webhook node. Great. Let's try this one more time. Generating post. Let's see if we get a success message or if this is working. Okay, cool. So this is already kicked off. Let's see in here. If we come in here, we've grabbed the full transcript. This code node should have actually, truncated everything and removed all the extras that we need and cleaned up this data. We're now writing our LinkedIn post. We've responded to the webhook. Let's see. Okay, failed to generate LinkedIn post. Let's try again. So let's come in here and let's see what's happening. So like I always say, 90% of the job is troubleshooting. So now we have to figure out what's not working. So this actually was returned to the webhook, but for some reason it wasn't able to grab it. So we can say this is the response from the webhook. It looks like the system didn't process it properly. So now it actually knows what format it's supposed to look for. So Lovable is going to get to work. It's going to think about the issue here. Okay, cool. I can see the issue. The webhook response has a specific structure. It's an array containing one object with post 1, post 2, and post 3. Let me fix the parsing logic to handle this exact format. So again, this is why we actually strictly created this format, because we want it to return something predictable every time, because otherwise the system won't know how to handle it. I fixed the parsing logic. The system now properly processes this structure. It updated the response. Great. So let's try this one more time to see if we get a cool response. Click this. Let's send this off. Go ahead. This is generating the post. We can have a cool loading animation or something if we want it. We don't need it for the sake of this. You can always tell Lovable to add cool things like that, or to send a message letting the user know that like we'll deliver this in their inbox or something like that, or basically their posts are getting ready. I'm gonna say let's also remove the top nav and that weird sidebar and shrink the URL input container a bit. So we can see here also still wasn't getting the format right. I definitely want to make sure that we just clean up the UI on this a little bit, which is okay. But we can go ahead and we can test this out while the system is thinking. So again, it's all about getting the formats right. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click generate this post one more time. If we come in here, we can see this is getting the transcript. The code is going to process this. Our LinkedIn writer, let's just go ahead and name this so we know. It's going to go ahead and write a post for us. This code should clean it up and it should send a response back to the webhook. Okay, super cool. We got this working. So now you can see this actually returned 3 different posts for us. Post 1, post 2, and post 3. You can just go ahead and copy any one of these to the clipboard, come over to LinkedIn, paste this in directly, and you have a viral post ready to go from any YouTube transcript. The last thing you want to do is, if you understand the code at all, is I can just come in here and go into search webhook and come into here and we can see where that actual webhook is. And it's this one, webhook/test. And you can actually just remove the test from this and click save. And so that when you come back into your n8n workflow, now instead of here, you just want to switch this to active. So now the system is actually listening actively for any response. So literally now, anytime I come in here and put a YouTube URL into this address bar, basically it'll come back with some posts for us. And we don't actually have to click execute every single time. The reason I did this is you can see here, this is the test URL, and basically the production URL just removed the /test. And so now that we switch this to production, we need to make sure that we actually update the URL that we're calling inside of Lovable. If you thought this video was cool, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see another micro app that I built using n8n and Lovable, check out this video up here where I built an entire lead generation system. I'll see you over there.